I don't know why I'm humming that, just am. What do you know? There is the Almar Shiva. Maybe it's Shiva. I really don't know. That is their finest quality tactical fixed blade knife. 5 1/4 inch blade. And the specs say only 5 ounces. Wow, that's light. With a leather sheath? Seriously, 5 ounces? Quite an accomplishment if that's true. And that is a great looking blade, don't you think? Kind of an old school gambler's look to it. Natchez gambler's look. The kind of blade that perhaps would have come out of a boot during a card game gone wrong on a riverboat on the old Mississippi. The Shiva. It's also an expensive knife. Last time I checked, I think it's like $2,000. And this is just 440A. I'm kidding. Just kidding. It is not 440A. It's laminated VG10 stainless steel, and it's not $2,000. Relax. It is several $100s, though. It's not cheap. The Shiva. It's expensive. Cool knife. Maybe one day I will review it. Maybe. Then again, maybe not. I have reviewed this one, though. Oh, yeah. Not everything Almar makes is uber expensive. It is ultra high quality, though. Every knife they put together. Like this one, the Eagle Heavy Duty. I reviewed that a few months back. HOF blade here in the Nutnfancy project. Love it. At any given time, just about, I will either have an Eagle HD on me, or, like you've seen in my EDC videos, the Eagle Ultralight on my person. I love them both. Just great blades. 4-inch blades. This one's flat ground, saber ground on this one. Fast. There's really not too much I don't like about the blades. Good looking ones too. So that's reviewed. Maybe one day going through the Almar catalog a little bit for the intro to this video. And then we get to the Series 2000, mini Series 2000 series of knives. Dudes, I've been watching these blades for like ever, and they just don't really stoke me for some reason. Maybe it's the weight. This one is 6 ounces. Yeah, it was one of the first heavy-duty tactical folding knives I ever looked at. Will I ever review it? Probably not, to be honest with you. There's the mini series. That's more reasonable, 3.5 ounces. The costs are up there too. I mean, the suggested retail on this is $300 for this sucker. I'm sorry, yeah, $300 and then $310 for that. It's expensive. Camoed versions of the same blade. Those are cool. $330 retail on that. Suggested, of course. $319 on that one. It's cool blades. I owned this blade one year. For about a year, I was packing around a Series operator. It was before the Nutnfancy project. I loved the knife. It was very thin, easy to carry. Money was very tight back then. I traded it in for something else. I just did. It's just the way it went. Sold it, got something else. Still a cool knife. It's lightweight. Good steel. Cool blade. I remember one thing I didn't like about it was it has a really flat handle, not super ergonomic. It's just my opinion. Stupid humming again. Oh! There we go. Subject of this review, as you've seen from the title already. The Almar Nomad. Have you even heard of that knife before? Some other cool ones here. Shrike, Pariah. Kind of a funky grind. Some others maybe one of these days I'll go through. But we're going to look at this one, the Nomad. This one escaped my attention. It was a fluke that I found out about it. I think a lot of guys think that I'm always scouring around for new knives. And to be honest, sometimes I am, but not always. And there's a lot of new blades that escape my attention. A lot of, in this case, old blades that escape my attention. This is not a new blade for Almar. It's just new to me. Let's check it out in person. Say goodbye to the Almar catalog. Here it comes. The Almar Nomad. That is a squared away knife. Squared away. And it is not uber expensive. This is a Nutnfancy tabletop review. I'm going to do my best about telling the story of the Nomad and its ups, which are pretty impressive, and a few downs. Here we go. Jumping right into, I guess, as usual, really quickly, by the way, philosophy of use. It's not a huge blade, by the way. You can see the specs right there. 3-inch blade. Talk about the weight here in just a second. What would you think this knife would be best suited for, TMPers? Yep, you're correct. EDCing. Mostly an EDC blade. The Almar Nomad. Almost perfect, actually. It is that mid-size that just lends itself to so many different cutting tasks. Food preparation, box opening, opening plastic packages, scraping stuff, cutting rope, all the stuff we do with our EDC knives. That's its primary calling. I will also say, believe it or not, lightweight tactical blade too. We'll see, it does have some pretty decent traction on it. Here's another one. I say this occasionally, collectible. How often have you seen this knife? Right, like never. How many friends do you know that have the Almar Nomad? Right, again, hardly anybody, if anyone. I've never ran into anybody packing an Almar Nomad. That makes it kind of cool, kind of special, second kind of cool. It can fulfill all the first kind of cool and second kind of cool. To me, that makes it collectible. In a production sense, not in the terms, like I've said bazillions of times, not in the sense that it's going to gain in value, but just collectible because it's cool. And then finally, a great gift item. I like the simplicity of their packaging, by the way, Almar. No gimmicks, just simple. It's got their logo on it, using the Almar name. It's just, I don't know, it's classy. I like it. I would love to get this as a gift. You know, if I was a knife person, or even if I'm not a knife person, a gear person, hey, here's your Nomad. I would just be pretty stoked. That's all I'm going to say on POU. How about size and weight? We already said a 3-inch blade. The weight is reasonable. My scale measures it at 3.4 ounces. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Well under the 4-ounce goal I have for knives in this category, especially the tactical blades. And the feel is also excellent. The balance, I love it. I think they could have perhaps done a little better job with the weight to make it super sexy by milling the liners out. Pare it down to 3 ounces maybe. That would be sick. That's just me though. Still awesome. The feel, balance, all that stuff is phenomenal. VG10 steel from this flat ground. Love the Almar logo too. I said that in my other Almar reviews, which incidentally date all the way back to I think 2008 here in the Nutnfancy project. And this is a, I don't know the cat, but it is a Kirk Rexroth design, as you can see there on the tang of the blade. Great job, Kirk. It kind of reminds me, by the way, of the Spyderco Nutnfancy 3, which is another HOF blade here in TMP. Just love that knife, the Nutnfancy 3. Doesn't the blade shape seem reminiscent of that? Does to me, though. Flat ground, nice belly, nice sweep on the VG10 steel. We love VG10. It doesn't hold the edge forever. It is extremely rust resistant, and it's very easy to resharpen, and it does take a fine edge. VG10 is a good steel. It's a good user steel. Great backpacking steel. I didn't really mention that as a POU. I would generally go with a lighter weight blade than 3.5 ounces. That's right, I'm watching ounces. Look at the tip on this. Pretty precise. Again, great belly. Love it. Love it. How about the speed on this sucker? It's a liner lock blade, as you can tell. Let's check it. Oh, nice and balanced, nice and fast. Trivia question. What is my reference for a manual action production blade, TMPers? I have several, but what would one of them be? Now, if any of you out there said the Benchmade Osborne Axis, gold star for you, my friend. You are correct. The Osborne Axis is that's an axis lock, of course, but that is kind of a reference standard. And this knife has about the same speed, same balance, same smoothness. Let's take a look at the pivot point. Looks like it has some Teflon washers in there. Not a ball bearing system, kind of an old school, but it works. Let's watch the lockup. There's your big old stop pin right there. No side to side wiggle, no up and down wiggle. Perfect, really. It really is. And speed and lockup, we'll give it an A. I would think the strength on this liner lock would be pretty good too. That's 400 series hardened stainless steel liners in that, although unmilled. But they're strong And it's pretty thick. Look at the engagement there on the rear of the blade. I love liner locks. I've talked about in some other reviews, especially the frame locks. I think the frame locks at times are oversold as being, you know, the end all for folding knives. So liner locks, if they're done right, are extremely strong in most normal uses. There you go. Handle construction. Another win for the Nomad. Pillar construction. You can see the standoffs there. Everything will flow through. I just love pillar construction. While we're here, let's look at the perfect blade centering. Oh man, that is just ideal. How about blade retention? I can't believe I remember this. I always forget it. Perfect. You saw that it didn't affect the speed at all. G10 on the exterior of the handle, and look how it's rounded, guys. Smooth. Not this side, but I'm talking the rounded. There's no hot spots like we see in some Spyderco designs. Other manufacturers have that mistake. Not great. Now this is kind of a funky flared design here. It is cool looking. I think it adds a lot of style to the Nomad, and we are about style, aren't we, with our knives? We are. Especially when the blade's extended. See that? Just really a cool styling cue. It is not the most ergonomic thing in pocket, since the pocket clip carries tip down only. And on this side only. So you're going to have to deal with that. You do have ambidextrous thumb studs, however. Lefties, you can deploy this, no problem. No obstructions on those thumb studs either. No slipperiness issues on the thumb studs. But in pocket, I find that this just, you kind of know it a little bit. It's not rounded, it's just kind of a pointed tip. You can see how the handle scales screw on to the Nomad there, so you can take them off if you need to. I didn't have to adjust the pivot point at all, but like all good knives, it does allow you to do that with the mini Torx if you need to. And that brings us to the perfect jimping. Dudes, it is rare a production knife gets it so perfectly. The Nomad does. Hey, Nutnfancy, we know you love jimping. You're right. I do, because it's so functional. If you hold a knife, for instance, this knife without jimping, and you like manipulate it, you will notice your fingers slipping all over the place when it's on that actually pretty pronounced and gorgeous thumb ramp. Well done, Kirk. That's a beautiful thumb ramp. And with jimping, it just locks on, gives you perfect control. You have a forward finger choil right here. So this is a really high control blade. EDC blade, and like I said, emergency defensive. You can see the traction on this sucker. I mean, it really locks in. It's not a big blade. It's kind of a smaller blade. 3 inches is a smaller blade to me. Works so. Medium traction, high quality G10, if I didn't say so. That's a good G10. I like it. So I would say overall the ergonomics, pretty smoking. Notwithstanding that we can't do anything with a clip. We're stuck with it. And a little bit does stick out of the pocket. It is not really a deep carry knife. You can see actually that much sticks out. So for you guys that don't like deep carry knives, look at the Nomad. There you go. By the way, that clip design, pretty awesome. It's blackened. I like that, and there's really no big goofiness issues, and it can clip over thick fabric. Durability, I would suspect, I did not hard use this knife. I would suspect it'd be great. Judging from other similar construction knives. There you go. We'll just go with that. Like Spyderco, I've worn the heck out of those. They have almost identical construction. Hardened stainless steel liners, G10 handles, about the same thickness of liner lock. I suspect no durability issues at all. That brings us to a very brief rundown of competitive options. Which one am I going to start with? Let's go with something in the same price range, more or less. And we're going to say the Almar Nomad, if you get a good price, will be around 140 to 150 bucks. And I say that's totally worth it, by the way. So we're going to go ahead and break out the Imkusta Katana. Oh, you thought I forgot about this sweet knife, didn't you? No way, dudes. This knife rocks. About $125, 3.4 ounces, same exact weight as the Nomad, giving it some stiff competition. And this model has some laminated VG10 steel on it. Just a beautiful Japanese produced knife. Which, by the way, these are produced in the same city, I believe. Seiki City, Japan. The Imkusta Katana. Also, we talked about the Tactility last year. And the Nomad. Just superb quality, both of the knives. I love them both. Can't choose any favorites. How about an auto knife? Switching it up. Shut up. The Piranha pocket model for about $100 to $125, depending on where you go to get it. By the way, in all my knives, I show you recommended retailers. I recommend you go there to save money. There you go, and to support people who support you. I love the Piranha. Classic flat ground drop point in 154 cm steel. It's only 2.4 ounces. Wow, this orange one is especially sick looking. Look how thin that is. I put the skateboard tape on there to give it some traction. Needed it bad. Beautiful knife. Thinness, let's compare it to the Nomad. The Nomad is not the thinnest blade and carry. Just isn't. I don't know. Neither is the Katana, the Imkusta Katana for that matter. Every knife I'm laying on the table here I pretty much love so far. How about this one? I reviewed this one a little while ago. This is a Camillus 7.25 G10. What a stupid name that is, by the way. This is a great knife, though. Knife is not stupid. They just need a better name for it. 3 ounces VG10 steel, single-sided thumb stud, tip-down carry, kind of a weak pocket clip, G10 on the exterior. By the way, this is Camillus number 18668. $46 though. It's a sweet knife still. You can see the thickness, pillar construction. TMP friend told me about this and I reviewed it a while back. That's an option. Cool knife. I still like that knife. Here's one out of left field. Totally not in the price range. Much less expensive. Let's try this again. Better deployment. There you go. That's better. This is the Boker Tech Folder for $12. How's that? Boker Tech Folder for $12. Yes, Chinese produced. You're never going to get that price unless it's produced in China or Taiwan. The steel sucks. This is 440A, and it is heavier, 4.2 ounces, but it has a very elegant blade shape to it, an elegant look. It looks to be much more expensive than it is, and actually it compares kind of in style-wise to the Nomad. I know, it's kind of out of left field. I just thought I'd throw it in there. $12 though. A lot thicker, and it's got kind of a huge pocket clip on it. A couple options. I'll tell you what though, this Almar Nomad, that's a great blade. If you can score it for around $140, I would say highly recommended. It's fast, it's strong, has perfect jimping. It is a great looking knife with a lot of style from a very interesting and small knife company. That's Almar. I recommend it. I'm going to say it's an HOF knife right now, right here. See ya.